What are the things that expats in Colombia fear the most? Hi and welcome back to How to Expat. My name is Tasha.
My name is Sam, and today we're going to talk about what expats in Colombia fear most. And this is, it doesn't matter if they live here or if they're, before they come here. We have just some different points which we think are important to know if you're thinking about relocating to Colombia or if you may be an expat in Colombia already. So first is mostly people fear that, or expats fear that before they come, when they actually live here, they find out that it's not too big of a deal, it's safety. So of course, we have talked about that a couple of times already, but it's just very, very important to know. People think that they come to Latin America, especially here Colombia, with kind of the negative image and stuff. That is very, very unsafe. We actually, like if you're from a small town somewhere outside, it's, of course, if you live in let's say Medellin or in Bogota, it's going to be a little bit more unsafe, but because of the nature of a big city, not because it's Latin America. They have their little issues. The thing is more kind of in the drug trafficking thing. So if you're not planning on being a drug dealer in Colombia, you don't really have to worry about safety too much. Not anything more that you would have in a city in the US anyway. Is there something you want to add there?
So in my opinion, the biggest struggle for most people are their friends and family, because most of the times the same thing happened to us, that friends and family are afraid of Colombia or Latin America in general. So don't be too afraid of what people are telling you, because usually they have never been there, right? And we're here, we're perfectly fine. And if you have any questions that we can help you to answer, you can always book a consultation with us. You can find the link in the description down below.
Then the next point is higher prices, which goes into kind of gringo prices. Especially people not coming or haven't been here yet, and we were, or especially I was the same way. The fear of the high prices and the gringo prices, and they're gonna gouge you and stuff. And let me tell you, I think where this is coming from is from the blogs and from all the stories from mostly Costa Rica and Mexico, because they had foreigners there for decades, right? Whereas in Colombia, it's just now starting to go on the expat radar, and they have all these stories of people getting gouged, people paying way too much for different things. And here in Colombia, it's not really too big of a deal. Yes, negotiating an apartment, that's very, very important. You have to do that with a long period of time and all of these things. Other than that, it's really not too much. I always find myself too thinking about, I think that guy gouged me, while later finding out, no, it was some other circumstance that I had to pay more or whatnot. It's really not too big of a deal if you're not, let's say, on the party mile of Medellin and stuff, because there, some people are out there to gouge you and stuff. But really, actually, it's not too big of a deal as an expat in Colombia of getting gringo priced daily or anything. I rather find the contrary, that people usually are very, very honest. So taxi drivers or whatnot, they're very, very honest. So if you pay them too much or whatnot, that they gonna give you money back or things. So it's usually not too big of a deal, and you shouldn't be paranoid about the gringo prices in Colombia. Then you want to tackle learning Spanish?
Oh yeah, so most people, they don't consider that Colombia is a non-English speaking country.
For some reason,
right? So they come here and they're really surprised by the lack of English speaking Colombians. The thing is that, like he just said, there are other countries like Costa Rica, Mexico, especially Mexico, which is like right at the border, right? They speak English most of the time, but that's not the case here. They just get used to the tourism and all that. Well, the young people now these days, a lot of them speak English, but especially the elderly people, they don't. So when you come here, English or Spanish is really, really important to learn, especially if you want to be an expat here. Just your daily business, getting stuff done, you need to speak Spanish.
And so, yeah, that's probably the first point where if you are fearful of not being able to communicate because you don't speak Spanish, that's actually true. So yeah, as Tacha said, you need to have a little Spanish. The thing is, if you have a little Spanish, that's usually good enough because you can communicate some kind of way, no problem. But if you don't have any Spanish under your belt and you come in here and you're fearful, yeah, that fear may be justified. So yeah. And then the last point on this topics list is getting scammed. So there are kind of two worlds out there. If you come here as a couple, and I think you most probably are not looking there for another woman or for another partner, usually you're not really getting scammed in many ways. Of course, if you're stupid about stuff, yes, but if you just have basic knowledge about how the world works, it's not really a big thing. If you're thinking about dating Colombians or whatever, if it's man or woman, yes, there are tons of scam stories out there, and you're rightfully so worried about getting scammed. Maybe a couple of tips. We have whole videos about that, but a couple of tips. If it's too good to be true, it most probably is. So if you're a 65-year-old guy picking up a 20-year-old girl through a dating app, 99% of the time, and we have some exclusions of that rule. We know some people that made it happen, but 99% of the time it's gonna be either a scam or it's just gonna be not for, let's say, love and stuff, but she's just after
like
your
sugar
money.
daddy kind of
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
And yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 fears of, or you want to add something?
I think we didn't talk about the more expats, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So the thing is, when people come here, they fell in love just like we did. Mm-hmm. And the second thing the first thing they say is we fell in love with Colombia. And the second thing they say is, I hope there are no other people moving to Colombia soon.
Yeah, so true.
So they just it's like, here's my flag. I saw it first. I'm gonna stay here. You stay out of here. So that's another fear of people coming here, that other expats, soon-to-be expats, will flood Colombia because they see what a paradise it is, what an El Dorado it is, whatever. So the thing is, what we saw from like the years we've been living here, what we've seen is most people feel that way, and there are a lot of people coming, yes, but there are a lot of people leaving too, because like I said before, they're coming here thinking that English is enough. They're coming here thinking that it's another America but less expensive, which is not the case. So if you're not interested in culture, not interested in learning the language and all of that, and don't want to kind of adapt to the culture and the new environment, then most probably you're gonna leave after a certain amount of time, just because it's not what you were looking for, right? So I don't have the fear of too many expats actually coming down here, because there are not too many people being that open to actually adapt to a culture, learning a new language and all of that. So I'm not really afraid of that. What do you think about it?
Exactly, yeah. We did another video also more in depth about that topic, and really kind of in a nutshell, if you hear the stories about Costa Rica and Panama, where that really happened to those places, Colombia gets less than 25% of influx of tourists and expats per year. So it's still, Colombia is a niche country in the expat world, whereas Costa Rica, Mexico, and Panama are on the expat list since years and years. So I wouldn't be too worried about it, even though like the word gets out that it's a great place here. But I really wouldn't be too worried. And then the second thing is, we're just talking about Medellin here, because if you go to other places where even less than 25% of the people, let's say like in Panama or something, go, like if you go to Pereira, if you go to Bucaramanga, places like that, you won't find any foreigners there in probably miles and miles. So yeah, if you don't want that, you just move to one of those places. So it's pretty easily.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so yeah, I think now we have the 5 points. 3 of them you can pretty much forget, and 2 of them, you might have to fear, but it's very, let's say, easy to get around them while learning Spanish and being clever of what you do here in Colombia. Yeah, I hope that video helped. Don't forget that we offer also Skype consultations. The link to book one of those is in the description down below. Yeah, hope to see you in the next video.